Hey, Chuck.
Hi. We need another road trip, Chuck.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah,
Well, we need to do a follow-up with San Juan.
yeah, we
Just,
do.
um, maybe we could see I guess the program in action in the Hogan. That would be a really good time to see and what they do with those kids.
It
Because
would be.
did they mention that they were providing traditional counseling? That was the whole thing, right?
Dave, do you have insight? Yeah, I mean, they do provide counseling down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that counseling? Is that traditional counseling, or is that just regular Western counseling?
I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but I do know that they were going to implement traditions in regards.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think they had that before. There was a guy there. I can't remember his name, and he worked with the school district, but he worked for the local tribe, and they use him as the traditional counselor. And I think um, I think he disappeared or something. I don't know where he went. But I thought that that would be a good time to do a follow up. We need that road trip,
For sure. We do.
and to make sure that those guys have that breakfast thawed
Ready
out
for
too.
us. Yeah. Yep. There's some
Yeah.
really great, like some new faces in this room. Amy Giles, Cody. These are like exciting faces for me to see. Hi, Amy. Hi, Cody. Anyway,
Hi,
this is fun.
Hey,
I'm
Julia.
here for Annie. Annie wasn't able to come today, so she asked me to
Okay,
step in.
perfect. I
I'm
think
here
we're gonna do
for
introductions at some
oh,
point, but
I'm here for Leah, but that will be permanent. So
oh, okay. Cool.
Right, welcome.
thank you.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and we'll get started with some introductions. And if some people come in a little bit late, then we'll have them join. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see, can you guys see that? Can I get a verbal yes from someone?
Yes.
Thank you. Uh, Adjust so I can see you. Okay, cool. All right, well, welcome to our Utah Coordinating Council for Youth in Care, or UCCYIC. We did make an adjustment to the time. We recognized there were several people that had another meeting that are part of this group starting at 1:30. So we adjusted. So thank you for those of you that were able to accommodate that. So just want to do some quick introductions. So if you can say your name, your current role and location, and your first concert, very first one. And if you've never attended a concert, go ahead and log off. We're not interested in having you be part of it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just make one up. Just do that. It's not like we can fact check it. So just say the concert you wish you went to. So I'll go first. I'm Benji Carrier with USBE. I support youth in care as well as attendance. And first concert I went to was Elton John and Billy Joel in
Wow.
Indianapolis. And every concert has been a letdown since. So that's just how it's gone for me. I'll go ahead and just call out names. It looks like I can actually I know everybody's name or can see them. So Morgan, why don't you go next?
I'm Morgan Taylor, and I help support the YIC and attendance teams at USBE. And my first concert was Backstreet Boys.
Nice. Dave?
Yep. Dave Solomon, education specialist with the YIC team. My first concert was a Megadeth concert at the Grand Olympic Forum down in LA.
Wow.
I begged my mom to take. I was in 8th grade. She took me and my couple friends, and it was probably one of the most sketchiest places in LA. But a lot of historical concerts. Tom Petty played people that played there, so it's a really kind of cool historical site, but kind of sketchy at night. So, yeah.
Well, glad you're still here. Amanda?
Thank you. So Amanda Charlesworth, Check and Connect Program Specialist with Youth and Care at the board. And my first concert was Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion tour.
Wow.
Julia?
Julia Armstrong, I'm an education specialist at USBE, and I think my first concert was in 3rd grade, and we saw Wayne Newton and the Osmond Boys at Stadium of Fire.
Wow.
It's a great time. Dankeschön.
Quite the contrast from Dave and Amanda to awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
that's why there's so many genres. Someone for everyone. Chuck?
Oh, I'm Chuck Foster. I serve as an American Indian Education Specialist here at USBE. My first concert was way back in the day. You know Waylon Jennings. He was touring through the reservation. I got to see him down in Window Rock. I lived in Fort Defiance. He performed in Window Rock, and that was like 6-7 miles away. But now he was a big draw on the reservation, but he passed, and now it's back to normal, I guess. So great concert, though.
Well, thank you, Dr. Foster. Amy Giles.
I think this is a loaded question that ages us, but my first concert was Book of Love at 49th Street Galleria. So that was a long time ago. But Benji, I gotta say, I also went to that Elton John and Billy Joel concert. It was, most concerts do not rise to that. I will agree with you.
Where did you see it? They were on tour together.
Yeah, they were on tour together, and I want to say it was in Utah. I want to say it was at the Delta Center, but I don't know if it was the Delta Center back then.
Awesome. Cody.
Yeah, Cody Northup. I'm with the Office of Substance Use and Mental Health. I'm a program administrator on the mental health team. And my first concert was also in elementary school like Julia, but it was No Doubt.
All right. And Rachel Edwards, her name is not Rewards. That's what I think every time I see it, but it is always a reward to have her in a meeting. So
Oh, you're so
Rachel.
kind. Yeah, Rachel Edwards, Program Director for Community Programs with JJYS. And my first concert was Rick Springfield.
Wow.
And he is still touring.
Melissa.
Melissa Timon with the Utah Parent Center, serving statewide. And I feel like I don't really fit in very good because I am not a concert goer, but I have been invited on a few dates. And my first that I can remember was Belle Biv DeVoe.
Okay. Laura Lee. Maybe is frozen. I thought she was just in deep thought, but yeah, it's like maybe she'll jump back on. Okay, Carrie.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm with the Division of Services for People with Disabilities, and my first concert was Ben Rector.
I don't think I know who that is.
Yeah, he does like some pop and rock kind of Christian theme to it. It was a concert that my church held, and it was in Salt Lake, so it was pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, Superintendent Squire, you're the last one. I hope it's good. And it better be country. If it's not country, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh, I'm gonna have to change now.
No. You say, what was it?
I'm Superintendent Squire from South San Pete. I was going to go off the rails and say I went to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, but Chris Ledoux in Salina, Utah.
Okay.
There's your country.
There it is. Well, awesome. Thank you, everyone. We don't always get together that often, so there's something about having something unique that helps my brain like remember who people are and connect with them. So thanks for entertaining me with that. And if Laura Lee comes back on, then we'll depending on what point in the meeting, we'll go back to her. But Laura Lee, just so that you know, she supports special education at USBE, and with YIC students, about 35% of all kids in the state's care also have an IEP, which is a larger than usual percentage in other subcategories. So, oh, look at that. She's coming back on, maybe. Laura Lee, I was just introducing you for everyone else, but I was gonna like make up some, some like weird concert to say, I'm sure that's what hers was, but we're gonna actually hear from you.
Benji, what concert do you think
I mean, I was gonna say, I was gonna say like Miley Cyrus or I don't know.
You're nice. Well, I'm Laura Lee Gillespie. I work in the special education program support team, but do a lot of work with youth in care because students with disabilities are a high population of youth in care. So my concert, actually, I'm going to date myself big time, but I went to a concert at the BYU Marriott Center of Peter, Paul, and Mary and Air Supply. So there's a concert for you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for indulging me with that. So so we're going to go over, so in our spring, we do this 2 times a year for those of you that are new. For now, there was legislation passed that is going to sunset this committee, that this isn't going through statute anyway, exist in 2027. So we're still around for a couple more years. And then I'm not sure exactly if there will be a discussion on reinstating it, or if that just becomes by request or whatever. But yeah, legislation says in 2027 that the UCCYIC will sunset. So for now, though, we do it 2 times a year. We do a fall and a spring. And in the spring, one of the items that it does talk about in statute is that we discuss our budget and the way that we are allocating funds. And so we will do our budget overview, and I'm going to turn it over to Dave to talk about that.
Yep. Thanks, Benji. So as you can see, I want to draw your attention to the pie chart. We received just under $34 million for this upcoming fiscal, and we had about $35 million in requests. And so through much deliberation, many hours, and methodically going through each one of the applications and respecting our LEAs, we worked with them a lot one-on-one and went through the applications, and they were able to submit leaner applications, leaner budget for us to review. And the good news is we have been able to successfully balance the budget for this upcoming fiscal. Of course, once that those budgets have been approved and they have those amounts, they'll take those back to their local interagency council meetings. They'll review those budgets and approve those budgets in those meetings, as well as the local education authorities will follow their own financial regulations and requirements in regards to how that money is spent and used. One of the biggest changes that we are undergoing currently is we're transitioning from lump sum, meaning we were giving them the entirety of what was requested, to a reimbursement process. And so that's been a process, and it's been great. We're going through we're using our Utah grant system to help us manage that reimbursement process. We're hoping that, we're able to do that on a monthly basis, but we are open and welcome to working with our LEAs and discussing what that would look like. We want to make sure we pile all the work we can on Benji to make sure that he goes through each one of those. But it's going to be a great process because it'll be easier, I think, for everybody to be able to track those funds and see where they're being spent. It'll make our monitoring visits, I think, a lot easier to be able to review those funds. And, essentially we're working these, utilizing these funds in a real-time situation. So it's exciting. Also, we wanted to point out some numbers oh, Julia has her hand raised.
Yeah, sorry. I just know that we have some newer people in this meeting, and so I just wanted to share a couple acronyms with them so that they understand what we're saying, if that's okay. So I just know when I came from DCFS, I thought LEA was local or law enforcement agency. And so when we were talking about law enforcement agencies, I was very confused. So I'm just doing that for anybody that might not know. Local, or LEA, is local education agency, which could be a school district or it could be a charter school. So when we say LEA, we're referring to school districts or charter schools. And then LIC, Dave did say local interagency council, but I just wanted to make sure it was clear that all of our local education agencies that receive funding are required to do a local interagency council. And so some of you might sit on those, but they are similar to this, but in their local areas. So sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure we were clear.
No, thanks for taking the time to address some of the newer faces that are here with us. So appreciate that. So we wanted to then provide some numbers of the things that this money supports in regards to there's 300 staff that we were able to support through this funding, 1,624 students in foster care.
Dave, let me just interrupt real quick. These numbers are from last fiscal year because we haven't finalized this. It's always like a year backwards, if that makes sense. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
780 students in JJYS custody, 61 students in DHHS and BOIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs care, and 1,450 students in detention facilities. And can we go to does anyone have any questions on this slide before we move further? All right, let's go to the next slide, please. And so with the money that we have this coming fiscal, after reviewing the applications, these are the total numbers of FTEs in each one of these categories that we're able to then support with this upcoming fiscal allowance, which is 16 administrators or directors, 130 teachers, 56 para-educators, 15 support staff, secretaries, registrars, 9 counselors, 7 mental health support and others, and then 7.5 ETCA. So ETCAs are educational and transition career advocates. They work primarily in our secure facilities, as well as our residential treatment centers, as well as 47 mentors. And I'm assuming those are Check and Connect mentors. Is that okay? Great. And so these are the FTEs we support with that funding for this upcoming fiscal.
Okay, thanks, Dave. So at this point, we wanted, just where legislative session ended, we wanted to start by asking this group if there was any legislation that took place that you think would be good for this group to know, like any bills that passed that would be important for us to be aware of. I mean, like my team, we follow education specific, but we're not always in like tracking or looking at things that would be like in DSPD, for example, if something took place that would be important for us to realize did go through. So just kind of opening the floor right now, did anybody have any legislation take place that it would be good for us to know about? All right, so a boring session for this group. That's actually probably pretty good news. I don't know. Okay, well, we had one item. I support attendance as well, so there's a little bit of attendance, but that's not relevant to this group. So, but Dave does have one update to reintegration plans that are not specific to YIC, but they do involve, we do have a lot of youth in this group that do, that this could impact. So go ahead, Dave.
Sure, I put a link in there for those who are unfamiliar with the code. So code 53G8213 is in regards to reintegration planning. And so for this year, they've made some, there were some recommendations, and those recommendations were accepted. This is this is the change that we are looking at, and they're looking at amending and adding on to that code. You can review that code. I don't know if we have enough time to go through the code, but if you want to reach out to me and we can talk a little bit more about what that means and how it could potentially impact you, that's totally fine as well. But to essentially sum this up, students, so this is in regards to not just YSC, but all students in the state of Utah, if they receive a serious offense or weapons offense that qualifies them for a reintegration plan before they return to school, the school is required to have a multidisciplinary team that compiles of partners, stakeholders, lots of different people to come in and support this student. One of the pieces that they've added that will be amended for this upcoming, or for in the next few months to this code, is forcible felony. And so these slides will be shared out. You can see I've linked the definition for forcible felony in there, so you can review that. So essentially, a forcible felony has been added to the victim part of this code. And so in this code, where it says in section 5, it says a student or staff member is a victim of a sexual crime or forcible felony. These are students that are not able to then reintegrate back into the school. So if there is a victim, a staff or student, they cannot reintegrate back into the school. And so they've added forcible felony on there as well. There's lots of things in forcible felony that overlap already with serious offense. And so what we're going to do is we work very closely with Rachel, who's on this call. She's fantastic to work with JJYS. We work with Blake Murdoch, and we have a few other partners that join us for our reintegration committee. And we review this, and what we're going to do is we're going to work very closely with the courts to come up with a very simple one-page description sheet of, weapons offense, serious offense, and forcible felonies, and kind of describe and explain to our LEAs what can and cannot be, who should be held, who cannot be held, to try to make things a little bit easier for them to navigate through this code. So with that, there's that one piece. They've also added a new section, so section 6, and this is still in regards to forcible felony, that a school district may elect to not integrate a student into a school if the student has committed or allegedly committed a forcible felony. So what this does is takes the definition of forcible felony and gives school now the option that even without a victim, so victim they cannot, but in addition to that, if they meet the criteria for a forcible felony, the school has now the decision or choice to not reintegrate that student. But and they added this part to it in part B, that if a school decides not to do that, then they are then responsible to provide educational services, or to find educational service to support that student. And so there's a lot more to it, but any questions in regards to reintegration planning? Okay.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Okay, so now we come to the part in our agenda where we just want to hear from you. We have this committee. We have a whole bunch of different groups and people represented with us today. And so if there are any obstacles or challenges that you all are facing, that you need help or support, that you could use a subcommittee to be formed where we could work on something together, This is opportunity for anyone in the group to bring forward something that 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 we could go over. So so I'm just going to go through and just call on each of you. If you've got something, please bring it up. If you don't, then you can say all is good, and we'll move on. So Dr. Foster, do you have anything in your world that you need help or support with?
Yeah, just a clarification. I think it was mentioned, you mentioned that BIA. BIA is a little different from BIE, Bureau of Indian Education. Bureau of Indian Education is to address student needs, and the BIA is more of a agency information thing. Like they address the infrastructure and buildings and the transportation part, but the BIE now, they address student needs, and I think in this case we're talking about students. So I think that's just clarification. That's all I have.
I appreciate that. That actually was brought up very recently to us from Trevor in San Juan School District, that apparently it is in statute the way that we put it, BIOA. That's what it says in there, and apparently that is an outdated or inappropriate term. So
can I ask what is the appropriate? I mean, because our statute says, so our definition includes students that are in the custody of of Department of Health and Human Services or BOIA. That's what it says, Bureau of Indian Affairs. So that's why we use BOIA, is because that they're in the custody of a tribe that is under BOIA. But if that's not correct, we probably need to get that updated in legislation.
Yeah, I think it's BIE, because all BIE is all attention to the students, whether they're in custody or not.
Can a student be in the custody of BIE?
Yeah, BIE, Bureau of Indian Education. Now, BIA is a little bit different. That's more of a agency structured. So
if I was to say, I guess I just want to make sure, because it's not necessarily about education, it's about who has custody of the child. So what's the overall, like the overarching title of the Bureau of Indian Affairs? So if it's not Bureau of Indian Affairs anymore, what is it?
It is BIA. What you're talking about, we just reference. Yeah, if they're and see, oftentimes when you do have a student and are enrolled in a school district, that's BIE. Now, if they're not registered in a school district, but they're like in this case, where that student now is in the custody of the BIA, so the BIA would be the correct term. So I was just kind of, the way I heard it, I think, this is a student structure thing, but now they're in custody. When they're in custody now, it's a BIA thing.
Okay.
I make myself clear.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay.
Amy Giles.
All is good at the AOC.
Is that the right term?
Well, I'm at the administrative office of the courts, so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. Rachel, anything with JJYS that you need to bring up?
Nope, nothing from me.
Okay. Melissa?
No, I don't think so.
Harry?
We're all good.
Superintendent Squire?
We're good here.
Laura Lee?
We're just continually watching and being aware of students with disabilities, and how we can best support the efforts of you all and making sure that their records get moved quickly and things are moving forward.
Thank you. Cody?
I also don't have anything to bring up.
Jennifer? Oh, I can't hear you, Jennifer. Is that just me? You came off mute, but I'm not hearing any.
How about now?
Yep. Okay, good.
Okay. I was just saying I don't have anything really to bring here right now, but thank you for all the information because it does impact services to our youth. So it's appreciated.
Jennifer, you missed our introductions. Do you want to just introduce who you are real quick, just in case someone doesn't know?
Yeah, I'm Jennifer Redd. I am the Transition to Adult Living Program Administrator for the state office, DCFS.
Thank you. Let's see. I think that's everyone if I'm following my screen. Did I miss anybody? Okay. All right. Well, we had two things that we wanted to bring up with us. So one of them is our youth education coordinating form. We've been working on that. That's a form that is used through the Office of Licensing when human service providers open up shop. If they are serving kids that are school-age children, then part of obtaining their license, they need to have an education plan as part of that, and that needs to be coordinated with the LEA where they are at. And that form it has historically it's been used. A lot of the language is just directly out of statute, so that it's not that there was anything wrong with that form. It wasn't like said incorrectly. But sometimes statute, for those of you that spend time looking at that, it's written in a legalese kind of way that isn't always like really user friendly. People don't always know what exactly they mean, or sometimes terms are used that are not very familiar. And so we've been, USBE and the Office of Licensing have been working together for about a year at this point of a kind of adjusting that form to try to just make it a little bit more user friendly to our education partners as well as our human service providers as well. So we're gonna just show you some of the work that we've done with that for your awareness. And then we also wanted to look at and talk about the document that we have on how we serve students in the state's custody. I'm going to turn it over to Julia to talk about that. And I assume you want me to open this up, Julia? You're muted, but I read your lips to say yes, so I'm going to go right ahead and do that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm glad you can read lips. I'm also going to throw in the link in the chat, so if you wanted to open it and look at it now or just on your own time, I think that would be great. So this is a document that predates my team. I think Amanda was around for its completion, but if I'm correct, you didn't take the bulk of this work, right? So
No,
it was done by others. And so this document is something that was finalized in June of 2020. I don't know why it went out in 2021. Maybe it was finalized actually in 2021. And so we're going to come up, it's almost 5 years old. And I know that there has been a lot of changes in the last 5 years, right? For example, it is no longer the Department of Human Services. It's the Department of Health and Human Services. We no longer use JJS. We now use Juvenile Justice and Youth Services. So some of those acronyms will change, but I know that there are some other things in this document that might be outdated or just need some clarifying or some updating. So Benji, if you'll just go to the first page where it shows all of the collaborators. Notice this is a Department of Human Services document. This is not a USBE document, but there were a lot of contributors from across our agencies that contributed to this. So we have in here the State Board of Education. We have in the Office of the Courts.
Sorry.
We have, no, you're fine. We have the Administrative Office of the Courts again. I mean, I'll let you look through that. I don't have to read it all to you, but I know Division of Services for People with Disabilities. fidelity wraparound, which is now something totally different. The person that did kind of spearhead this, I believe, was a position that was shared. So I think DCFS, JJYS, Systems of Care, and USBE all paid a portion of this person's salary. They were housed under the Department of Human Services, but that position no longer exists. So without that position and without our awareness of this, like this group's awareness of this, this document will just go, I mean, I think it'll just disappear, right? But I think it's very helpful. I refer to it a lot, especially when people have questions about IEPs or how JJYS works or how DSPD works. But this is a document that we kind of all contribute to because it matters, because all of us have a point of view when we work with students and their education. So that all being said, I guess we need to, I would love to spend this year if we could get a work group together to update this document. But it is going to mean that I need a commitment from all of your agencies in order to do that. I am happy to spearhead that. But again, this is not a USBE document, and so I don't want to step on toes of the Department of Human Services, but I, at this point, don't even know who. Like, I don't know if this is something that maybe we take to Tracy Gruber. I don't, anyway, I would love your input and your thoughts on this document. This is great. So I wanted to just open this up to conversation and see if maybe we could get a work group together to make sure this is updated so that by the time 2026 hits, it's not 5 years old.
Julia, for those that aren't on the document, it might be good to go down to the table of contents just to give them an idea of what we're looking at updating.
Well, I thought the first thing that we should do is identify, it looks like the only person whose name is on here that is still in the exact same position is April Graham. So I think it's April's responsibility to do 100% of everything on this. So Rachel, if you'll just...
Rachel, take that back to her. Yeah.
Because everyone else is in a different position, I think, so.
Aubrey.
Things change.
Who else is the same?
Aubrey Myers.
Oh, okay. I don't think I know Aubrey.
Well, and Aubrey Myers used to be, I think, a liaison for us, but now I would say it's Jennifer Red. So Aubrey still works for DCFS, but he's not part of this council. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Aubrey is the right person, Jen. Like, and I guess that would be my question to you, is for you to take back to your agencies, who is the right person to help support the update of this document? We can decide who owns it, or like, because if this was a USBE document, we would have to use our USBE style guide, which is fine. We can own that, but this is referring to students in your custody, right? In your agency's custody. So I'm just not really sure the most appropriate way to go about it. But if we could at least identify a person in all of your agencies to contribute to make sure that the information is the most accurate, maybe that's where we start.
This is pretty lucky, though, that it actually said, oh, what did I just do? Oh,
I don't know.
hyperlinks. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, it already says youth in care. So we knew it was coming.
Yep, we did.
That just for those.
Your previous team was a bunch of cheaters, is what it was.
Or wizards. They knew it was coming. Okay, sorry. I know, Lisa, I clicked on it and then it jumped. Okay, so here's the table of contents. The area is that, can you guys even see that? It's pretty small. Do I need to try to blow it up a little bit?
That might be helpful.
No, you can't see all of it, but so obviously there's an education services part, which clearly is us, like the USBE team. Yeah, like who decides? So like that's not necessary, like that's not a education decision by itself, right?
Right.
clarifying students with disabilities and how that works. JJYS, DSPD, Division of Substance Abuse, the courts. So yeah, we're all.
I mean, one thing that's missing in here is like tribal information. So like clarifying what BIA is versus BIE would probably be really beneficial for this document. Anyway, so what would be the best if maybe either you can identify someone in the chat? Would it be better if I just email you and get a specific person to help update this? Do you feel like this document is needed to update? And if not, then I think we'll just remove it from everything because I don't want outdated information being shared. Maybe I just would like some overall opinions on how you would like to see this moving forward.
So Julia, I think this could really enhance what we're trying to do at the training that you're going to be working with me on for foster parents and stuff. So I think updating this is going to be a really good thing. If you want me to be kind of the head to bring this to the attention of like Tanya Myrup and Tracy Gruber to say, hey, you know, this does need the team effort from the department, you know, and the divisions within the department, I would be more than happy to take that on and try and see where our starting point is. Because I do think this is like, it's a document that would be really helpful for other goals that USBE and DCFS at least, but I'm sure JJYS and DSPD as well, all have in common.
Yeah, and that would be fantastic. I mean, if you could take it to Tanya and Tracy, and maybe Tracy's the one that identifies the people that need to be part of it. In my mind, it's these people that are here. I mean, if you're at this meeting, it's because there's somebody somewhere has said that you are the person to talk about education of the students that you're serving. But it might not be you. So that would be great. I would love that. Anybody else have a thought on that?
Well, I threw it in the chat, but I just wanted to add for you all's perspective that this is a document that's referenced quite often when students are enrolled in school or when mentors are working with students and they're having some challenges. So I know our schools and our local education agencies use it quite often as well.
Yeah, I agree. It needs to be updated. And I was just scrolling through it and there's a lot of information that definitely needs to be updated throughout it. So, yeah.
All right, so to move forward, I think what we'll do is Jennifer, if you could reach out to Tanya and Tracy, identify people from these various agencies, then I will get a work group together and we'll just start hammering it out. So that would be a proposal for me to this committee. So sometimes from this council comes subcommittees. And so that would be my proposal, is that we have a subcommittee that works to update this. And whether that's you or someone that you identify. I am curious, Superintendent Squire, if you feel like there would be a benefit to have representation from LEAs participate in this. If you felt like it was important for me to find a few, the only reason I'm thinking it might be is because I'm not boots on the ground and they are, and they might be able to identify common questions or concerns that should be addressed that I'm just not aware of. But I would love your input on that.
Yeah, I know there are a number of youth and care programs around, and so it would, you know, Arlene, we have Arlene. I know North Sanpete has some up there, so I think it would be beneficial to have at least, for maybe not the whole process, but at least some of the educational services.
Okay, that's great. And we can just look, like you said, there are a lot of programs throughout the state. And so finding a few people from around the state would be good. Okay, rural, maybe, and urban. I mean, those are just some of the thoughts I'm having. Okay.
Well, and Arlene was assigned, so that I heard that happen.
I'll let her know that Superintendent Squire said her specifically.
I know nothing. Don't get me in trouble.
No, that's good. That's good feedback.
I do think that it's important. So when Jen got on the meeting too, I wanted to just update everyone. And so I might actually pull. So YIC, our team, you know, we talked about our funding. We allocate funding to really only 26 school districts throughout the state, but there are 144 LEAs in the state. Right now, Jennifer, Red, and I are working on identifying a foster care point of contact in all 144 LEAs across the state. And we will be doing a training for them, getting them updated so that as you have students, if they're not in a program that has YIC funding, because maybe it's a small LEA, they will at least have a point of contact so that they understand some of the, you know, at least the federal language and at least like what is foster care or what is the Department of you know, what is DSPD or whatever. We're just going to give them some language, and so they're a point of contact. And so I might even think about including a couple of those folks because they might need access to this as well because they probably don't deal with a lot of students that are in JJYS custody or tribal affiliated. So anyway, just I'm thinking out loud. But if this is something you want to be a part of, and as Jennifer reaches out to the powers that be, I'd love to have some invested folks help contribute to this document.
And before we end this meeting, Morgan is going to help get some solid commitments from some people out of here, whether it's you or someone else in your department that could help with this. So anything else, Julia, before I move on?
Nope, I think that's all.
Okay, so the youth education coordinating form, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but just wanted to give you an idea of what it is. And I'm obviously not going to like compare it to the old one, but like I said, this form, it's through statute and just designed really to kind of be, and the way that we're going to present it to our YC principals and directors is that I really think this form is best used like over lunch, honestly. Like it's a conversation. It's something to sit down and talk about. What are the educational services that you're looking for, how you're setting up, you know, transportation, how who you're serving, how long you're serving them, what classes you need. A lot of our human service providers, right, there's a lot of very intense therapy and supports that are happening. So a full school day doesn't make sense because they've got other, you know, other things happening in their life that are taking a little more precedence to work through so that they can focus on math, science, and English. And so being able to go through all of these sections and figure out just what is that plan? How are we going to provide the needs that students have through this, whatever the human service provider is, what they're there to provide, as well as making sure that kids are getting education at the same time and they're not falling behind and then getting to a place where graduation isn't going to take place, which then is going to create a whole new set of hardships for this child. So so that's what this form is designed for, and yeah, just a lot of great work that's happened with Office of Licensing. We appreciate their time to kind of help inform us, and kind of help really come down to like when it really comes down to it, there are a lot of times some conversations, I'll say, probably arguments are more appropriate, but conversations, spirited conversations about really who has ownership of these kids when it comes to the education. Does the human service provider get to dictate what that looks like? Does the LEA get to dictate? Who has the responsibility to educate them? Is it where the HSP is located? Or is it where the parents reside? Is it there's a lot of little nuance that goes into that, and this form helps to clarify that, as well as a flow chart that we worked on to try to bring some clarity to some of these really subtle nuances that happen. Any questions about this? Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but any questions about the overall concept of the youth education coordinating form?
Is this new updated one on your website, on the USBE website?
No, yeah, great question. Not yet. We just met on Monday with Office of Licensing to go over some final questions. And so they now, because it's similar to what Julia was just saying, this isn't our document. This is not USBE's document. It's the Office of Licensing. So now they are going to take it and run it through their style guide and have their administrators and whatnot approve it and potentially come back with some questions for us. But we've taken it as far as we think it should go. Like, this is what we're happy with, and now we'll wait and see what they have. Julia, go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought maybe I could share just kind of an example of why this document I think is important for all of you to understand, and why it touches all of us a little bit in a different way. And I'll be quick because I know we're running low on time. But for example, this document is required for any human service program. So whether they are like a residential treatment center, for in-state kids, out-of-state kids, they all have to complete this. If it's a day treatment program where the kids are in school or at the day treatment facility during the school hours, they have to complete this, etc. So there has been some confusion this year because DSPD has certified homes that don't need to complete this form. However, DCFS now has contracts with these certified homes. And so these certified homes are now expecting their local education agency to do the education, but they haven't completed the form to let the local education agency know that they even exist. Because under DSPD, they didn't have to, but now under DCFS, they do. And so it's important, I think, for like Carrie, DSPD to understand when is this important for our providers. It's important for DCFS to understand when is this important to our providers. It's important for mental health to understand because you have a lot of day treatment programs that you run. I get questions all the time where people are saying, I have a kid that, like, I'm a parent and I placed my kid in a day treatment facility. I thought they would take care of the education, but they're not. And that's a nuanced question. So then we have to go back and be like, well, is it required that they do or is it not required that they do? But this form touches all of us. And so I just think it's important to recognize what that is. But ultimately, like Benji said, if our districts don't know that your providers exist, we can't prepare them to serve your students. And so this is it's an important thing that we are all aware of and we're all contributing to make sure that our schools are equipped to care for the needs of your kids. All right, thanks, Benji.
No, thank you. And I guess, yeah, let me give a real example that happened, and I'm also aware of the time, but so Ogden School District is surrounded by Weber School District. They're right next to each other and border each other. So we had a situation where a parent had placed their child that lives in Weber School District and drove 5 minutes and then crosses the boundary into Ogden School District where an HSP was located. That HSP had not filled out the youth education coordinating form with Ogden School District. So Ogden School District didn't even know that this place existed. They had no idea. Weber School District has a child that's not attending their school anymore because they are coming to a day treatment facility that's in Ogden. So they're in this day treatment all day. So Weber thinks this kid is gone, right? Out of sight, out of mind kind of situation. Well, this child also has an IEP, as we talked about, a lot of our kids do. So the kid has an IEP. After some time, the parents got frustrated that their child was not receiving their legal federal protected services. So they went to Ogden School District, where the HSP lives, and said, hey, you are not providing services and you have to, you're required to, we're filing a complaint against you. to which Ogden goes, what are you talking about? We didn't even know this place was here. Like, we didn't even know this kid existed. Like, how can that be on us? So all of this gets resolved when the youth education coordinating form gets filled out. People know who exists, what they do, what they offer. And then there's a whole nother process, which I'm for sure not going to go into, but where then the parent would request that Ogden provide the services since they are in that area. Anyways, it's really just about that communication, right? It's knowing who is where, what they're doing, what they're offering, so that we can make sure that in the end, it's the kids that suffer when we as adults don't collaborate and work together. So, all right, any other question or comment about youth education coordinating forms? Okay. Well, thank you so much. That brings us to the end. Oh, did someone say something? Yeah.
Benji, I just also wanted to point out, I didn't even think about this until you started talking, but we have new TA around non-local education agencies that you and my team created about monitoring, that I just put in the chat that might be helpful to some of you in thinking about enrollment, which is a part of what you're talking about. And anyway, just thought it might be useful.
No, yeah, thank you. That's true. We've been working on this document for quite some time as well. So yeah, thank you. Okay, so the part that I was just talking about, we don't need a committee for. We just really wanted to bring that to your awareness of work that has been done with that, and make sure that that's information and conversations that you can have with your people. What Julia was talking about, though, that document on how we support students in State's Care, that we do need representation. And so I'm going to turn it over to Morgan, who is going to hold you hostage until you give us a name and an email. Go ahead, Morgan. She's very skilled. Go ahead.
If you guys could just drop your name in the chat, if it's you, who's going to be representing, or if it's not you, whoever it is, if you could drop their name and email in the chat, that would be great. I'm not letting any of you go.
No, she was just letting him back in, but Dr. Foster just came back in. So Chuck, if you wanted to be part of the group working on that handbook, just drop your name in the chat, FYI.
Thanks, Amanda.
Could you clarify which subcommittee this is for me?
Yeah, it's for the updating the Educating Youth in Care handbook.
Okay, I'll check with Annie on that because I'm not sure exactly who may be representative for the AOC.
Okay, awesome. I saw that on there, so I'll just note that.
Okay, and I can have her reach back out to you, Morgan, if you want.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. I'll have her reach out to you.
Okay, thanks. Cody, Rachel, and Jen read. Thank you. Amanda.
So Cody with the courts. Oh, wait, no, you're not with the courts.
No, Office of
Substance
Substance
Abuse.
and Mental Health.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, and then Annie was the court. Sorry.
Yeah, Annie's the courts. Yeah.
I apologize.
Morley. Carrie, thank you.
Okay. And I know we didn't discuss the exact time frame of how often the subcommittee will meet. And I mean, Julie, I don't know if you have a very general idea on that.
Yeah, I think what I would start is just like having one meeting where we make sure all the right players are in the room, and then we game plan, and then we create some meetings. Like we might feel like let's all go do it on our own and come back. We might feel like let's do it all together at the same time. But I think I would want to leave that up to the subcommittee. So I think we'll just schedule an initial meeting, get all the key players there, and then create a plan of action.
Okay, are we missing anyone that we
The
think
other-
from this list that's here?
There's something about high fidelity wraparound that Lana Stoll was representing. Does that even still exist anymore?
It's actually, I believe the new acronym is IOC, I believe, and Kim Kettle is over that now.
I think it might be ICC, intensive care.
Oh, thank you, ICC.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you, Cody.
intensive care coordination.
Yep. And Kim Kettle is over that.
Kim Kettle, do we have a contact for her?
I have it. I don't know if it will be her. She's the director at Office of Coordinated Care and regional supports, but I'm sure she'll assign somebody. But let me see if I can get it and I can put it in the chat.
Thanks, Cody. And then not listed here, but Julia will work to get a couple principals or people throughout the state that we'll invite. All right, well, I know we're a little bit over time. So thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Cody. You got it. So that's all of our contacts. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, if you ever have a question, you don't have to wait until September 16th when our next meeting is. You can reach out anytime. But our next UCCYIC will be September 16th, so mark your calendar if you are the right person for that. And if not, let us know who should be, and we'll send out an invite. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.